and welcome to UniGeek. My name is Rebecca. I'm the founder and director of UniGeek. I've been doing this for nearly 15 years, so I'm very aware of what is out there and how difficult the process to apply to university can be. I've had lots of students asking questions about the international student scholarships that are available and about finances, and I'm trying to understand a bit more about the application process. So I'm going to give you a very quick overview of the financial implications for an international student to study in the UK at university. There are so many universities in the UK that it does make it a complicated process, and there's not really one place that you can apply to the scholarships either, other than looking at individual university websites, but I will come to that in more detail shortly. So this is very much a short video to talk about and try and understand a bit more about the financial requirements for a student wanting to study in the UK. Okay, so who are we first? I thought it would probably be best to explain what my services are, simply because, again, we've had other students who have inquired that perhaps haven't quite understood what we operate as. And UniGeek was formed to help students with university applications to the UK, both UK students and international students. We are not a university, so UniGeek is not a university, and we do not offer any scholarships. We are literally a company that will help in every possible way to get you into university in the UK. We can make sure that you're accepted by universities through guiding and showing you how to make an outstanding application. We can also offer advice about funding, about choosing the right course and the best university to suit you, on how to improve your application, how to write an excellent personal statement which is part of the university application, preparing for interviews, talking about accommodation options, obviously for when you move over to the UK, the top universities, and a bit about budgeting too, because I think that's very important to understand your position in terms of finances. So we're going to talk about how much you actually need to study at a UK university as an international student. First off, and this is one of the biggest fees that you will have to fork out for, and that is tuition fees. UK students have to pay these fees as well. However, they have a lower rate of tuition fees, and they do have an opportunity to access a loan within the UK. As an international student, unfortunately, you don't have access to that student loan, and you will have to find these finances through your own opportunities, and we'll come to that shortly. So tuition fees is the cost that the university will charge each year to do the course. So it's you paying for the course effectively, and there's the amount can change each year, but generally it will be the same amount that you are charged for year 1, year 2 and year 3 of the degree programme. The other big amount that you will have to consider is the living costs, and that will be obviously to live in some form of accommodation. That might be halls of residence, which is usually based at the university campuses. It might be a private rented house or flat with other students. Obviously you will need to eat, you will need to drink, you will need to travel, possibly get the bus, possibly get an aeroplane, a train, insurance and bills, so lots of other costs which are for your day-to-day living experiences. And then finally, there will be some admin costs as well. There's a small charge for completing your university application form, and that's for everybody again. That's not specifically because you're applying for a company. That is literally for every student applying to UK universities. There's a small charge for that. You will have to pay a certain amount to get a student visa and for the application to be processed. And if you're expected to do pre-university tests, you may also be charged to book and sit those too. So the minimum amount, this is really the minimum. It's usually, I would say, probably touching more towards £25,000 as a minimum that you will need each year to finance your studies at university in the UK as an international student. Tuition fees are anything from £9,500, so £9,500 each year onwards. I would say from my research over the years, you're probably expecting around £13,000 to £16,000 per year, depending on the university you apply to, because every university is different with how much they charge for tuition fees for international students. Living costs, that will depend on where you live. If you live in London, you will need to accommodate approximately £10,000 to £12,000 each year for your living costs. If it's outside of London, it might be slightly less, and perhaps between £8,000 and £10,000 per year that you are obviously at university. Now, with applying to scholarships, it is very, very often mentioned that when you apply for a scholarship that you have to be evidenced as self-funded, and what they mean by that is you have to prove that you have the finances to live and attend the university each year in accordance to what their charges are, and that needs to be evidenced within your bank account or given proof of how you will get those finances. So scholarships will not, in most cases, cover your full tuition fee costs or help at all with your living costs. So please do not rely solely on having an international scholarship to be able to go to UK university, because that is highly unlikely that would be able to happen. And I am about to release some information for some examples of scholarships that are available at the moment, and I will update that each week on the UniGeek website. How are you going to afford these costs? So we talked about applying for international scholarships, and I'll come to that shortly. But first, I will mention that you can work 20 hours per week when you're living in the UK. This is all information that we will go through if you sign up to the UniGeek packages that we offer to help you make a university application. We will go over this information in more detail with funding. We will create a budget and look at your finances, not too personally, because I do not want to encroach on your personal circumstances, but give you an idea of what to expect so you can feel confident that you have the support there. Obviously, like we've said, you can access scholarships, and these will vary depending on the university that you apply to as to what you can get for each of those scholarships. You can only get one scholarship or type of funding. You can't have more than one type of funding to help you out with your application if you're accepted into a UK university. There are other scholarships which aren't just for individual universities, but again, these are very few. The scholarships which entitle you to apply and will give you a certain amount are usually from your living country, so from where you live. So for example, if you lived in Africa or an area of Africa, it might be that they offer certain funding to allow you to study in the UK. But again, like I've mentioned, these are not very common. The most common form of international scholarship is with individual universities, and with over 300 institutions that offer degrees in the UK, that's a lot of research which we can help you with. But you must not rely on just the scholarship to finance your studies. Obviously, for most of you, it will be a case of relying on your family and friends, perhaps also savings that you've already managed to gather. I've spoken to a student previously where we talked about potentially having a gap year and saving up some money during that time, which may help towards their first year of university fees. This is a conversation I have regularly, even with UK students who don't have perhaps as expensive tuition fees as international students. We talk about having a gap year to work and earn some money in order to prepare their finances for university. So if you sign up to UniGeek, you will get support with your university application. And once you've made your university application, you will then have contact with the university that you are accepted by, and they will go over the international student scholarships or support that they can offer you. And like I've said, we can talk about that in more detail if you are to sign up with one of our professional service options. We have 3 different options. Service 1 is all about making the right choice, so we will do research into specific university courses. We will look at specific universities which might perhaps meet your needs, your interests. We will also look at finance and where you're going to get your funding from, and budgeting to see if you can afford, obviously, and be able to prove to the university that you have the finances in place. We will talk about accommodation options, and we will also look at how you can improve your university application, perhaps if you haven't got much experience in the subject you want to apply for, or perhaps that you haven't got much to talk about as to how you've developed your interest into the subject you want to apply for. So very much talking about how to strengthen your application. So that's the Service 1. Service 2 package is purely about getting your application processed and completed and sent in the most outstanding possible way with the best application put forward. We will go over the statement that you have to write about yourself and make it as good as it possibly can be to reflect how great you are. We will also go through other things about making the right choice of course in university. We will go through funding options, how to improve your grades if you're currently studying qualifications at the moment. We will also look at, again, how to improve your application. We will also look at preparing for an interview for the university that you're applying to as well. And because this is a premium package, you will get an opportunity to do 2 extra sessions on top of the standard 6-week program that we offer in order to specialise in a particular area. So that might be to apply to Oxford or Cambridge, or a medicine degree that you might want to apply for, or potentially looking at more opportunities of financial support. So that is Service 2, and you get endless communication. Once your application's been sent, you are still allowed to contact UniGeek to find out what you have to do next after your application's completed and gone through the process. And finally, Service 3 is a fast track service that we offer, where we aim to get your application completed within 4 weeks. So this will be quite intense. It will require a lot of contacts between UniGeek and yourself to get the application done in such a short time. But it does allow to give you confidence that you've completed it correctly, that you've completed it to the best standard you possibly can, and it allows you to get all the advice you need and your application checked over by us too. So in summary, international student process is you would make an application to the UK universities of your choice. You would then get accepted onto that course. You would then make your scholarship application, is stage 2. You will then hopefully get your finance approved, where you've managed to prove that you've got enough financial support to go to a UK university. And then the final process will be applying to the student visa. And all of that in total is likely to take you in equivalence to perhaps 3 to 4 months. So please bear that in mind when you see any dates that come up. There's some scholarships that have already passed and the deadline has gone. There are still some scholarships which have an opportunity for you to apply for, and again, that will all be included as part of the professional services package that we offer at UniGeek. We want to help you, we want to support you, we think you're great, we think you're amazing, and I cannot stress enough how important it is to make sure you read up and you research into opportunities in your own country and other countries as a backup. There is nothing more that I would hate to happen, that you would go through, get accepted to a UK university, but then find out that you can't go because you haven't got the finances to support yourself whilst you're there. So please make sure you have backup options if ever you are to make an application. I really hope to hear from you. I'm happy to answer any questions. We offer a free initial consultation where we can talk in more detail and have a personal conversation about your interests, your choices, your background, and talk about what service package would be best suited to you with UniGeek to get your application processed and accepted at the university that you want to go to. Good luck if we don't hear from you. I wish you all the best for your future. Stay strong, be bold, and remember that you are unique. There is not another you. So keep going with whatever your hopes or your future is that you hope to achieve. Good luck. Thank you. Bye-bye.